Alex Hormozi just sold over 2.5 million copies of his brand new book, Money Models, breaking a Guinness World Record of the fastest selling nonfiction book in 24 hours of all time. His 3-day launch generated over $100 million in sales, and part of his offer was a 90-day free trial to the community platform Skool, which he is a big investor in. So with the influx of traffic on Skool and people starting new Skool communities, I wanted to break down 5 different Skool money models that I have used to help creators, coaches, and online entrepreneurs generate over $1 million collectively online in the last 18 months. And not only will I show you the Skool money model that Alex Hormozi personally taught a group of 100 of us in a private cohort last year, but I'll also show you the money model that I used to generate 36 grand online last month. And I'll show you the money model that the top successful entrepreneurs are quietly using right now, and I believe is one of the best money models for creators in 2025 and 2026, and one that I am using with my higher level clients to generate a consistent 20K per month every single month. So let's jump straight into the first one, which is a low ticket MRR community. And this is the classic Skool model that most people are familiar with, where you have traffic from your socials, which is top of funnel, things like YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. You drive people to either a Skool about page or some kind of landing page, which generally has a video sales letter, a VSL, or some kind of description and copy below that, and you drive people into this low ticket MRR offer. Now, I want to be clear, there are some benefits to this model, and it is working currently for creators right now, but it's very specific types of creators, so that's what I'm going to break down right now. So some of the benefits of using this model is, one, it's a very low barrier to entry for members to join your community because they don't have to make a big commitment, okay? And so paying somebody $10 to $200 really doesn't require a lot of convincing, a lot of selling, a lot of marketing, and people can kind of just do that reactively and kind of do impulse purchases based on that. So because of that, this is a pretty good first dollar online model for beginners. Now, I'm going to explain in a second why I don't believe it's the best model to start with or that most people should use. But if you're just looking to make your first dollar online and you're kind of just toying around with this and you're not really serious about, making consistent 10, 20, 30 grand months, this is a good model to kind of just dip your toes and test the waters. It can also be a good model if you're an influencer and you have some kind of large existing traffic base already, because you really need that high volume in order to scale this because it's such at a low ticket price point. And this can be useful in niches where audiences can't necessarily afford high ticket offers, or niches where you're not really creating a big transformation and solving like a really painful problem. And it's more like a hobbyist kind of training or solution, that kind of thing. Now, I will say that I believe the costs far outweigh the benefits of this type of community. And one of them is that it really needs high volume of traffic to scale. So you can imagine that at $50 per month for this kind of community, you need 400 members just to get to 20K per month. And that is not including what is called churn, which is the number of members who cancel at the end of each month. So with low ticket memberships like this, churn is usually the biggest problem, and it's normally high, anywhere between 5 to 20% month over month. So if you have 400 members and 80 cancel that month, that means you have a 20% churn rate. So what most people don't take into account is that although they can get people in a little bit easier, you're constantly having to replace these lost and churned members, and it can feel like you're running on a treadmill, because to maintain 20K per month at that $50 per month range, you need 400 members, which, first of all, that's a lot of people to say yes to the community, right? Don't underestimate how many people 400 people is. Plus, if you're losing 40 members per month at about a 10% churn, you have to add 40 new signups just to stay level at the 20K month. And to actually grow, you need more than those 40 new member signups per month. And so what you have to do in this model is you really have to focus on customer acquisition, getting those 40 to 80 new members a month, and you have to focus on reducing that churn, which is a really hard, big, hairy problem to solve. Okay, and so in my opinion, the time, energy, effort required to generate the top of funnel volume to actually make the math add up for significant revenue, to generate the community content itself and the product itself, which is an ongoing service, so you have to continue to deliver to the low ticket customers, and to focus all your attention on reducing churn. I feel like this is a very hard model to scale and sustain, and it has very low leverage compared to other models. So essentially, it's like a lot of energy and effort and time for, modest ROI. Now, I will say there are people on Skool right now who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars from this model. One example is this Nick Sareve guy who has an AI community, and he's making $300K per month with his community, and he is the GOAT, greatest of all time on Skool, meaning he's generating the most revenue out of anybody on Skool right now. But what you don't see about Nick is that he created daily YouTube posts for a full year of 20, 30-minute videos almost every single day. And so the volume of traffic he generated from that was really what allowed him to get more people in the group. And he's also an expert in AI, which means that, he's using AI to automate a lot of these things, which typically most people can't do right now. So I would say he's a little bit of an anomaly. And I think the thing that people kind of mess up here is that they see others succeeding with this low ticket model, but they don't really understand what it takes and what goes on in the back end. And I'm going to get into some other models here, but for me, this is not a model that I necessarily would recommend anybody to do unless, you're a beginner who wants to just test making their first dollar, or you already have like a big organic traffic source. I definitely wouldn't recommend this with paid ads, because then you have like very low margin for an ROI with the paid ads. And what I would say is avoid this if you really want like more freedom, more profit, and higher leverage. And for me, that's really what I'm looking for in a business model. So that's why I've completely avoided this, and why I really do not recommend these monthly memberships to most people. So number 2 is a mid to high ticket ARR money model. So this is when you're driving traffic from your socials to a conversion event like a webinar, a sales calls, a wait list, a landing page, your DMs, into a mid to high ticket annual recurring revenue offer, which generally can be priced around $2K per year to $10K per year plus. So this is when you sell access to your Skool community for a full year. It's often packaged with coaching courses and calls, and it's usually sold with these higher touch sales conversion events because of that higher price point. So the benefits to the business of this is actually that it has high leverage because you need fewer customers needed to hit the revenue goal. So you saw in the low ticket MRR that you needed 400 customers to hit the 20K per month mark. But in this, you just need 50 members at 5K a year, and you're hitting 250K in annual recurring revenue, which is pretty good for most people. Another thing that's really good about this model is it brings in upfront cash, because you have that high ticket price point up front. And so when you get that cash, you can actually reinvest it back into ads, back into systems, back into team, back into mentorship, back into education, so that you can grow faster and your business ultimately goes faster as well. This model also has lower churn because the cancel point happens less frequently. So in the monthly membership, you're actually giving people an option to opt out every single month. But in the annual membership, you're giving people an option to opt out every year. And so Profitwell is this company that works with subscription types of businesses, and they did a study on 14,000 subscription businesses. And what they found was that on average, monthly memberships had a churn of about 10.7%, quarterly memberships had a churn of about 5%, and annual memberships had a churn of about 2%. And that is frankly based on the way that you charge people. That had all other variables were the same. And so that means that annual memberships have a 5x less churn than monthly, inherently because of the model itself. And not only does this benefit the business, in my opinion, but it also benefits the customer because you give them a year in your group, they have a longer runway, and that means you have a little bit more time so that they can actually see results. And that's what you want to be focused on, is getting customer results and customer testimonials so that ultimately you can market those in the future and you can get more customers from those results. The perceived value is also higher, and ultimately, like, customers treat a high ticket price point like this much more seriously, and that commitment drives them to take it seriously, drives them to take action, and they're more likely to follow through and actually succeed on the transformation that you're giving them. Now, what are some of the drawbacks and the cost of this model? Well, because this is a higher price point, it's going to be a little bit harder to sell, which means you have to have a stronger marketing system, and a stronger personal brand is going to do this. A pre-sell and a nurture system is going to do this, right? You also have to have a stronger sales system, which means a little bit more complexities within the sales. So instead of just sending people to a landing page or a Skool about page, you're going to have to do a little bit more in terms of sales, which means chatting with people in the DMs, right? Getting people on sales calls and converting them on sales calls, running webinars, running conversion events like challenges or live events, right? And so you have to have a stronger marketing and sales in order to sell at these higher price points. And you really want to have the delivery a little bit more tighter. So you want to focus on quality curriculum, coaching, and support. And you really want to be like a premium asset and have premium positioning in order to do this. Now, the great part about this model is that when you force yourself to go high ticket, you force yourself to become a premium player in the marketplace. And so people no longer price shop around at these different low ticket communities and kind of compare you to everybody else, because you actually position yourself as a premium person in the marketplace that commands a higher price point. And that's really, in my opinion, and there's a great saying by, I believe, Dan Kennedy, and he says that there is really no advantage at being the second lowest priced person in the marketplace. And so you either want to be the lowest price like a Walmart or an Amazon, or like top tier price like a Gucci or Louis Vuitton or Playboy or luxury brand. And where you get crushed is really when you're playing in this middle ground. And with this, you can position yourself as one of those top tier brands, which then gives you, higher margins, higher cash up front, lower churn, and the benefits just go on and on. So I believe that this is the best model for entrepreneurs who really are looking for fewer and more committed and higher value clients who want to scale to 20K per month much faster. This is a much faster way to scale than like the low ticket model, where it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to really build up that recurring revenue. And people who sell transformational offers, it can really help somebody transform their life, whether that's removing their anxiety from their life, helping them with their marriage, helping them with their health, helping them with their mental health, physical health, spiritual health, helping them with their business, their marketing, their YouTube, their paid ads. Anybody that is teaching something in the health, wealth, or relationships niche, this is a really good option for. And I would just avoid this really if you have like a high volume and budget sensitive audience. And you can think of people just like Mr. Beast or like entertainment YouTubers who have a ton of volume, but those people can't necessarily pay for a higher ticket price point. And I will caveat it with this, which is I have sold $500 through $1,000 offers for people with high volume and low budget audiences, and it's still been successful. It's just something that you would want to probably validate yourself, before you really go all in and build out something like this. So the next model is free to paid, where you take your traffic, you put it to a free Skool community to nurture, pre-sell, and build trust, and then you convert members into a paid Skool community, which can either be something like a low ticket MRR or a mid to high ticket ARR. Now, what I really like about this is that the free community acts as a great low friction entry point or lead magnet for cold or warm traffic, and you can use this with either organic or paid traffic, okay? The free community is a perfect place to nurture, pre-sell, and build trust before pitching any type type of offer. Okay, now the cons of this is one, it requires you managing two school groups, this free plus this paid one, and that just adds like a lot of complexity, especially for solopreneurs, because you're putting energy in a free group, you're putting energy in a paid group, and it just takes a lot of energy to manage both, and it adds on complexity, and I'm always trying to optimize for simplicity. Another con with this is that you really have to balance the value that you're giving in the free community versus the paid community. And what I see a lot of people do is they give too much value in the free group, and there's just no incentive to upgrade for any other members, or they don't give enough value in the paid group and they really have poor conversions. They don't get great results. They don't get great testimonials. And so another con of this is, the delivery load increases as the free group goes. And eventually, you're going to want a community manager. Now, I'll say for any of these models, you're going to have a community manager once you scale past a certain point. But just that two models is not something I love. And it's actually one reason that I have not done this model completely. Now, let me break this down even further, because there are really two types of free to paid models that you can use. One is the free to paid low ticket, which when Skool was pretty fresh, a lot of people were using this model, which is driving the traffic to a free community where you're giving value, you're pre-nurturing, you're building trust, you're building an audience, then sending people to a Skool about page or landing page, and then having a low ticket MRR community on the back end. And what I will say about this model is that it requires a lot of energy and time for very low ROI. One, because the ultimate monetization strategy is this low ticket MRR, the top of funnel, meaning the traffic needs a ton of volume. So it's a very high volume game, right? Then from your traffic to your free community, you have a percent that converts into the free community and actually becomes a lead. Within the free community, you have to have ongoing content, DMs, conversion events, new lead magnets. And so you're continuously putting a ton of effort within this free community. And then you're trying to convert people in this free community from the Skool about page or landing page into the low ticket MRR. So, the people from the free community to the paid go down even further. And then you have to focus on the low ticket MRR community in the paid group, and you have to worry about churn at like a 10 to 20%. And so you're constantly having to replace these lost members, right? But you're driving all this top of funnel traffic, and there's this whole conversion, multiple step conversion, that people are just dwindling down and down and down. So the conclusion is this is really high energy, high effort, a lot of time, and low ROI, unless you have a huge audience and you are in a very unique case, which is you are selling affiliates or e-commerce, and you're using the free community to actually sell your affiliate products or your e-commerce products, which a lot of people are doing. I actually have a client, who's generating 30 to 50K per month selling e-commerce products through a free community, and then kind of has a low ticket MRR community on the back end. But honestly, we're going to close that down pretty soon and adjust the money model, because this doesn't even make sense for him, and he is an influencer. So I would really say, this doesn't make a lot of sense for anybody. And it's one of the models that a lot of people that, come to me or used to come to me are doing that are really struggling on Skool. So I would really avoid this model at all costs. But the other free to paid model is this free to paid high ticket, where you send your traffic to a free community, you send that free community to a sales call or some kind of conversion event, and then you sell them a high ticket ARR community. And this was actually the model that Alex Hormozi taught in his free private cohort with 100 people. And this was the model that I use in this competition to place 14th and make 65.879 grand in the 90 days out of these 100 entrepreneurs in this private Skool cohort. So this model is really effective because it uses that free community to build trust and nurture and pre-sell people, but it also closes into a higher ticket ARR model, which means you have more upfront cash, you have the recurring revenue, you have the low, 2% churn because it's on annual, and because people are paying higher prices, customers are, more deeply committed, which means they're more deeply invested in getting the results. But this still requires managing 2 different Skool communities. So you'll probably need a community manager. And I actually think that Skool is coming out with pricing tiers very soon. So I would hold off on using the 2 Skool model right now until this feature set on Skool is going to be explained and expanded, which I believe is going to let everybody use one community to monetize in these multiple ways and really be able to unlock like the key money model, which I'm about to show you right now, which is the freemium money model. The freemium money model is when you drive all of your traffic to a free Skool community. On that free Skool community, you pre-sell, pre-nurture people, but then you drive them to sales calls, webinars, and to the DMs. And in there, you sell them lower high ticket one-time payments that are hosted within the free group. So what you do is you make an offer and you get people on a call, you present the offer, and then you let them pay through the classroom section where there are modules where you can buy now. So let me show you exactly what this looks like within my own community. So here you can see my community accelerator, which by the way, you can go to the link in bio and join and be a part of this right now. But if you go to the classroom section, you'll see that there are different courses and modules within the community. Well, what you can do with this freemium model is essentially go to one of these courses, edit the course, and then choose the buy now option and have a one-time purchase payment of, let's just say, $2,000 and save that. And then when you're on the conversion event, which is the sales calls, the DMs, you save it and you tell your customers to go within your classroom and purchase it right there. So this is actually the model that I use to make $20K per month. It's also the model that, I used last month to make $36K, and it's how my clients are making $20K per month as well. So the benefits of this is, you only have to manage one group, which is the free and paid all happen in one place. So it's just simpler, leaner, less overwhelming. You keep everybody in one place, and this actually also creates like social proof, and the members and non-members kind of can interact with each other, and you can kind of showcase the members to the non-members, and it will create this sense of like FOMO for the people who are, non-members. It's also great because it includes this free community. So you're selling to a warm, nurtured audience who already know, like, and trust you because you've been engaging with them in this free community. So that means the conversions are usually higher, resistance to selling is usually lower, and the sales just feel like natural and they don't have to be forced. They don't have to be high pressured. People will come on the calls and they kind of feel like they know you already. And so it's just like an easier sales process overall. Another great part of this model is that when you're interacting with these free members and you're interacting with these paid members, they naturally reveal the problems that they're having. And by observing this and knowing how to craft offers, you can actually make offers to people within your free group. And, when I started a free group, I didn't even have an offer. And I was getting on calls with people just trying to figure out what offer could I make. And eventually I got on enough free calls and figured, okay, I know what these people want, and I made an offer. And that's how I ended up, launching the business and making my first 10K, in the first like 30 to 45 days of starting it, just by growing this group, just by listening to people reveal their problems, and by knowing how to create an offer that is desirable and that solves that problem. And another cool part about this is when you are able to create like an engaged group, you can actually rank in something called Skool Discovery, which is kind of like SEO, but it's free organic traffic from Skool, because Skool has its own search engine essentially. And what they do is they rank communities based on their artwork, based on the niche, based on engagement, based on the active owner. And you can see this is one of the communities that I've been helping out with that is ranking number 6. And so we are getting hundreds of, if not thousands of new people within that community for free, just because we're ranked on the discovery page and people are looking on that discovery page, seeing the group, thinking that it's interesting and joining right there. So that's another cool benefit of doing this freemium model. Now, there are some cons, of course. Currently, this freemium model only supports one-time payments, so it's not recurring. right? And this actually makes you as an entrepreneur put the emphasis on customer acquisition instead of long-term retention if you don't have a really compelling upsell and money model after this initial payment, right? So without upsells or renewals, clients cycle out once the program ends. And of course, you can offer like a recurring back-end offer. A lot of times what people will do is they'll sell a high ticket front-end offer for 3 to 4 months, say like 5K, 3 to 4 months, and then a back-end offer of like $1,000 a month of continuation. And that works pretty well. But if you just have that one-time payment on the front end and you don't have a back-end offer, you're pretty much going to be incentivized to only focus on getting new customers, which means you're not incentivized really to get customer results, except for, the marketing of those customer results themselves. Another con of this is like it mixes the free and paid members. Some people like this, some people don't like this. I personally think that, when you mix free and paid members, it kind of devalues like the community value proposition as part of your offer. Of course, you can have another private community in another free Skool group or like a Slack group where you can say this is like more of an exclusive private community, but ultimately that's not really what this freemium model is, right? It's more about like having that one community with free and paid members as a part of it. But you can also do things like add people into private WhatsApp or Telegram or even just give them your number so that you have one-on-one connection and can do kind of consulting with that. And that's what I really like about this freemium model is it integrates with one-on-one consulting extremely well because you give somebody all of the resources, the calls and everything within the free Skool group, but you can also add them to like a private Slack channel, a private WhatsApp, a private Telegram, and you can give them that one-on-one support as well. Now, Skool is working on adding annual recurring payments inside free groups, I think. And when this is live, it's going to combine the simplicity of the freemium, so the one group, and you have the stability of the ARR, so you have the recurring, and you have the high ticket. So I think this is going to be a model that I will probably move to in the future, but they haven't announced the feature yet. So we're just kind of waiting for them to announce that. And the last model that I really wanted to talk about was this low to high ticket model where you drive your traffic, either organic or paid, to a landing page with a digital product that is $7 to $99 one-time payment. And it's very important that this is one-time payment and is not recurring revenue. When somebody buys this from the landing page, this product is then delivered via Skool ecosystem. So all of your digital products are hosted in Skool and people are redirected to Skool after they get this one-time purchase within that Skool ecosystem. And after you deliver the value of the digital product, you then use sales calls, webinars, and DMs to ascend people into high ticket offers that are anywhere between 2K and 10K. And ultimately, this is an amazing model because you build a pool of buyers, not just people who are seeking freebies. If you're running ads, you can actually liquidate the ad spend, and then you can ascend people into higher ticket 2K to 10K offers within that Skool community ecosystem. And so really the core benefits are one, you can liquidate ad spend, meaning you can get customers at net zero cost. So if you do this right, you can, in theory, get infinite amount of customers because all the customers that you're getting, you're making a profit from that $7 to $99, and then you're just reinvesting that back into ads, and you're just continuously flooding this Skool ecosystem with free leads, essentially. And that $27 price point actually creates a little bit commitment. And so it filters out the people who are freebie seekers who like never will pay anything, which can be good. And, when somebody buys from you one time, they have a lot higher likelihood of buying from you again and actually ascending into a high ticket customer compared to people who are free and have always been free in your universe forever. And I think ultimately, this removes the stress of keeping people engaged and worrying about churn in the low ticket MRR model, which is why this is just one-time payment of a digital product. Now, this is a really great model for getting customers for free if you're running paid ads, if you know how to design an ascension system, but it's pretty complex because it requires an ascension strategy. You have to create the digital product offer, you have to create the high ticket offer, you have to have a full funnel setup in something like Go High Level or ClickFunnels. You know, a lot of people add things like order bumps so they can increase that front end LTV. You have to do things like email nurture. You have to have a back end sales system. If you're running ads, you also have to know how to run ads profitably. You have to know how to do the copywriting for the funnel, adjust the funnel, split test. This is like for very advanced marketers and entrepreneurs, but this is the one that like the top entrepreneurs in the space are running behind the scenes right now and not really talking about, because they're able to acquire these customers for free, which they then ascend into higher ticket back-end offers. So in no way, shape, or form is this beginner friendly, but it's best suited for experienced entrepreneurs who understand ads, who understand offers, who understands creation and ultimately sales processes. So if you are like a creator or entrepreneur really looking to scale big, which I would say probably past 100K months, this would be the money model that I would probably bet my money on. And, you know, if you're a big creator and you have a lot of traffic and you have somebody that you're partnered with, like an advanced growth operator, somebody like me, for example, or if you're like a big creator and you're partnered with an advanced marketer, an advanced growth operator, an advanced entrepreneur who knows how to do all these things, this could be a really good move for you, because you can essentially monetize the majority of your audience with the low ticket price point and filter out for the people who will buy that higher ticket offer a lot easier. But I would avoid this if you are a beginner, you have little experience, or you really don't know how to do ads, you don't know how to create offers, if you don't have any existing assets, any existing products, and you're really starting from scratch, I would definitely avoid this, just because it's too complex, and this is definitely more for advanced type of people. So that is it. Those are the 5 Skool money models that I have used. They're the ones that are crushing right now. They're the ones that you can take and go out and use. And I hope this helps you make a little bit of money, grow your business, transform the lives of the people that you're really called to serve. And if you found this breakdown helpful and you really want a custom game plan over which money model you can use that fits your goals, your desires, then I have a link in this description to book a game plan call with me, where we'll get on a call. I'll ask you about your business. We'll break it down step by step, and I'll give you a game plan to scaling to your next 20K month plus in profit, or whatever your goals are. So check the link in description out and book a call with me. We'll have a chat. Thanks so much again for your time, and see you in the next one.